updates on this, but like Mr. Beast is a monster.
You crying. Alright, so we are going to be talking about some of the Mr. Beast allegations, not the ones by Dogpack404. It has like 6 million views now, which is pretty insane. And I do think some of those points are valid, as like the illegal lotteries or the fraudulent signatures signed by their own people that is not by Mr. Beast, even though people are paying for the signature of Mr. Beast, or the diabetes in a chocolate bar that used to be healthy and made a complete 180 change. We're not going to be talking about any of that stuff. What we're going to be talking about are the Beast games. You know, the show that Amazon helped put on with Mr. Beast to create a Squid Game style game show, basically kind of like a Survivor, but Squid Game real life. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is like the 100th time that Mr. Beast has remade the Squid Games. He is really milking Squid Games, and I don't know how he hasn't been sued by them yet, but it's insane. Now, the first video we're going to look at is made by a woman who has complained about Mr. Beast a lot over the years because she lost a challenge a while back in like a hide and seek game or something, and has just been crying for years. Has made it her whole life goal is to tear down Mr. Beast after she lost. Now, personally, I don't trust her because I think she's just a mega sore loser. But besides that, there are some actually valid points that we're gonna look at. Plus, you know, it's not just her word, it's people who are a part of the show that are talking about their experience with it, and there are also some nurses that verified that there were a bunch of injuries. So anyway, we're gonna check this out and actually see what's going on for ourselves and, you know, make judgment, because that's how it works, right? I guess, I don't know. Anyway, let's watch it. Also, one more thing, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers by the end of the week, so, you know, if you want to help out with that, that'd be cool. You can also comment down below and tell me what to try with pink sauce, because top comment will be what I tried with pink sauce if I get to 600 by the end of this week. All right, now let's go.
Hey guys, so it is time for a video because I have received messages from over a dozen people involved with the current Beast Games. For those of you who don't know, Beast Games is a competition show ran by Mr. Beast that will be on Amazon Prime. It is being marketed as the biggest competition show ever. I'll talk more about that later. On to the messages. So the messages that I have received from contestants on the show are pretty much all telling a similar story, and I find them to be very disturbing. Some of the messages are from people who have competed and they've been eliminated. Some of the messages are from people who are still competing, and some of them are from people that I personally know who are involved on the show and still doing so. These people are genuinely upset about how things are going. They're scared for not only their own safety, but the safety of their friends who are still competing. They aren't doing this out of spite. They're doing this because they are afraid for themselves and for their friends. As of right now, I have 10 stories from 10 different people, and none of them have shared their stories with each other, and I will be talking more about them in the future. I have personally worked in entertainment and on sets for almost 2 decades, and what is going on here is beyond disgusting and extremely dangerous. I wanted to read you one of the messages with the permission of one of the contestants to give you an idea of why I'm so upset and why I simply just can't let this go. It's absolutely not
Oh my
okay.
God,
So
it's
I'm
been
gonna
over a
read to
minute,
you her
hurry up.
message. I was a contestant until the end. I also didn't accept their hush money. It was really bad. People were having seizures because they were not getting medication, even though we were promised we would. And it was 100% rigged. They presented it as though the game would be like Squid Games, basically a type of game show where all the games are an even playing field. That was not at all the case. All the games were about speed and strength, so only the young athletic males were at an advantage over the women, and elderly people were also casted. To make things worse, men started realizing that they could take out the women without being eliminated. Guys started tackling and hitting women. 2 girls were tackled and passed out on the field and were dragged off to continue filming. I saw people with broken bones, stitches, etc., and most were women. We were
All right, let's pause for a moment. Now, if people were really having seizures because they weren't getting their medication, that is obviously a huge problem, and I think that they need to either have a lawsuit against Amazon, because to be honest, I don't think Mr. Beast is used to working with this many people, and I'm sure Amazon had a hand in this horrible situation. But to say that it was 100% rigged, I don't really agree with, because the person says the games are like Squid Games, so basically a type of game show where all the games are an even playing field. That is just not true at all. There were several points in Squid Game where it was heavily sided to the people that were stronger, like the tug of war game they played. All those men, you know, forced the people to be on the opposite team because they were stronger, so they wanted to beat the other people. And that's just one instance, really. There were several times throughout the show where people would force the weaker members to do something that they didn't want to do themselves. And I don't know if you want to be comparing it too much to Squid Game, because they did also have a moment where they turned off all the lights and they had free reign to start killing each other. I don't know if you want to compare it too much, because then they might take notes and be like, okay, if that's what you really want, we'll make it more like Squid Game. And I don't think that would be a good idea. And it says, you know, like only the young athletic males were at the advantage over the women and elderly people. Like in Squid Game, for instance, there were old people, like the main villain who was in the show. He was an old person, and there were of course a lot of women too. And I mean, that's just how it works. You know, that's just how the game is. It's not going to be 100% fair for old people and weaker people. I mean, it is basically survival of the fittest. That's the whole purpose of the game show. And it's, what, $5 million on the line? So that makes sense why people are taking it so seriously. And I think it is absolutely horrible that guys started actually full-on tackling and hitting women. It's obviously not okay, and they should have been taken out of the show immediately and literally passed out because of it, got knocked unconscious and stuff like that. I think that is obviously horrible and should never happen. And then apparently were dragged off to continue filming. Are you sure they were dragged off, or were they just like taken off to get medical attention? Because I don't know. But you know, and it says they had broken bones and stitches. Obviously that's not okay, and they should have eliminated those people and had better safety measures. But the main thing that to go into a game show that's based off a Squid Game expecting it to be like an even playing field, it's not going to be. Obviously, it's going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be whoever's strong enough and smart enough to get through it and make it through the challenges. I feel like that's just a classic case of not knowing what you're getting into. Especially if you know it's based off a Squid Game. If you've ever seen the show, then you would know that the challenges were not always an even playing field. Again, like the tug of war.
We were given maybe 400 calories a meal and only fed every 12 hours. Food would run out and people would fight over, steal, and hoard food. Water was scarce and kept running out as well. I had to sit with a bloody pad for 2 days before I could get undergarments and my reusable pads because I'm allergic to regular pads. We were also sleep deprived, only allowed 3 to 4 hours. We all slept on the floor in the stadium in a $10 sleeping bag. I get that people saying it's a game show and it's not meant to be easy. I'm not saying it should be easy, but it was presented like Squid Games, where competitions were not biased and didn't exclusively cater to young athletic men. People who went signed up for Squid Games, not for American Ninja Warrior and Survivor. Why else would they cast elderly people on the show? They offered anyone who lost $1,000 to sign away their rights to join any kind of class action lawsuit of any kind. I didn't sign, so I didn't get the money. After this article came out and things started blowing up, they called everyone back and decided to offer an additional $1,000 per person to make up for any of the inconveniences. They knew it was bad because they also offered to provide therapy through their insurance. And it wasn't Amazon Prime that called me, it was Mr. Beast's crew.
I mean, that point kind of just seems like Mr. Beast's crew was trying to take care of the people that were having problems, and Amazon just didn't care about people, which is pretty typical for Amazon, honestly. Now, to go back to another point where they were saying about the food rations, and the sleep schedules and stuff like that, I think that is obviously not okay and sounds like horrible living conditions. 400 calories fed every 12 hours and 3 to 4 hours of sleep on the floor of the stadium and $10 sleeping bags. Yeah, obviously that is terrible. It's horrible. It's not okay at all. But are you really being forced to stay there? Isn't it a challenge? You could leave at any point in time, but you wanted the money, right? You wanted the money. Now, the thing with the bloody pad for 2 days, that is disgusting. Honestly, that is really gross. And they should have gotten her pads. They should have been more prepared. But I think what happened was Jimmy was not prepared for all the people that were going to be going out there. I think it was like 5,000. I feel like that was more pressured by Amazon and not really Mr. Beast. And since he's used to handling people like hundreds of people and not thousands like that, he just wasn't prepared for it. Now, is that a good excuse? I don't really think so. They should have thought it out, planned it out more. But still, you're not forced to stay there. It's not like you're in Guantanamo Bay. You're just being imprisoned. You're capable of leaving anytime you want. But of course, you wanted that bag, which is understandable, but you just can't come out, you know, complaining about some of that stuff whenever you could have left at any time. And I'm glad that you get it's a game show and it's not meant to be easy. And then you mentioned Squid Game again. I don't know why you keep mentioning Squid Game. I don't know if you're delusional or if you just have never seen the show, which is a great show, by the way. It was peak COVID times. But some of the competitions were definitely biased and people took advantage of that. I'm not going to mention the one I've already mentioned twice because it's getting redundant, but they were not always unbiased. It's kind of ignorant to say that, to be honest. Plus, again, you don't really want it to be like the actual Squid Game and people just start murdering each other and have different stuff like that happen. That would definitely be a lot bigger of an ordeal for Jimmy than what is going on right now.
We were set up to fail. And when the men started tackling people to get them out, nothing was done about it. They were not even eliminated. The game that had to do with the briefcase, it felt literally like Hunger Games. While Mr. Beast is standing on his podium, looking down, watching all of us peasants fight for a chance at 5 million. I know it's a game show, and I know it's not meant to be easy, but even with a waiver, it is a company's responsibility to have safety protocols in place to try to prevent injuries. That is not what was happening here. The fact that the nurses at the hospital in Las Vegas are also confirming all of the injuries that happened is proof. They did not have to sign an NDA.
So yeah, I agree. You know, they should have had better safety precautions in place 100%. And the nurses do corroborate that fact that there were injuries from the Beast games that they were having. But whenever they mention Mr. Beast standing on his podium looking down at them, it just really makes you see him as like some kind of evil villain. In my mind, I'm just picturing him holding on to the podium, just staring down at everybody, no expression at all, just blankly staring at everybody and what's going on below him. He's just standing there watching as this guy goes over and just demolishes this one old lady running across the field trying to get to a suitcase or something before him. I know that's messed up to say, but come on. Like, that's just the imagery going through my mind right now. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
And 5 of us so far have tested positive for COVID. Also, someone was allowed to go in with pink eye, which of course is also contagious. Now, this contestant has shared even more details with me, and I'll keep you updated. I have even more statements to come. And just as someone who has worked in entertainment and on sets, huge professional sets for years, I've seen people being treated different ways, but this is absolutely unacceptable.
You know, and I can agree with that. You know, the way people are being treated and letting people get actually like badly injured is not okay. They should have had better safety procedures, like I said. But I think a lot of people were also going into it not understanding what they were signing up for, especially them comparing it to Squid Game constantly, but then acting like Squid Game was more even and fair. I think that's just a ridiculous take. And then there's this video about this one woman talking about how she was psychologically disturbed or something. Like a bunch of people were psychologically disturbed and having depression afterwards. So we'll check that out. We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's like 4 minutes long, so we're just going to watch I guess like the first part.
So today is first morning, I guess it's afternoon now, that I've experienced being eliminated from the new Mr. Beast game challenge. They eliminated 400 people the first day. Those 400 people, the majority of them were forced by the other team members to be on the specific team they were. Some were just about like physically like assaulted to be put onto one team, which ended up making it like the weakest team, since it was a lot of like elderly people, petite women, and people that just, I mean, they weren't willing to take on 6 guys that were surrounding them trying to take their vest so that they can actually be on that. Of the 400 people that left, the majority of them, I'd say at least half, are all extremely depressed. I don't know if I can say extremely, but I definitely know that they are depressed. As far as I've heard from so many people that I've talked to personally, as well as people that I've spoken to that are employed by other organizations that are around like the games right now, a lot of people have come up and expressed that they are really not doing okay. It was so much work and exhausting to just get to that point to even be in the games, and then to be kicked out, and you kind of get ostracized. The staff, like, they become really cold towards you once you're actually kicked out. Mr. Beast does not talk to everybody, all his fans or anything, and I mean, like, there's so many different things. I'll keep giving updates on this, but like, Mr. Beast is a monster, and the games that he does are really cruel and sick. They actually had called a one kind staff member of the only three kind staff members that I came across that were like really concerned about the well-being of all the people that were so distraught, had actually come to me and asked me if I was okay, and I told them I wasn't. I told them that I wanted to die, and one of them had called a psychologist to come on set and talk to me. And that psychologist had even informed me shows like Mr. Beast, and I'm assuming probably similar type game shows, they kind of destroy the contestants. It is extremely psychologically damaging, and I really think that it should end. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of updates that I'm going to give.
So yeah, she's basically saying that, you know, it caused her psychological distress. Now, the kind of environment with the starvation and little sleep and stuff, I can understand could cause you to have problems. Now, I don't think that losing the game show should cause you to be depressed. I understand you're like disappointed, you know, it sucks you lost, but that's just pretty crazy to be full-on depressed, wanting to off yourself just because you lost a game show, when you should probably be evaluated before you go on a game show. If you're to that point just from losing, you know, maybe you should have been in therapy beforehand, and hopefully you are now to get the help that you might need. And also, that just kind of makes some of the crew look good by saying they got you a psychologist out there too to evaluate you and see if you're good and everything like that. Another point is that Mr. Beast does not say hi to all of his fans, does not talk to everybody. It's kind of ridiculous to say that because there were thousands of people there and he was trying to take care of everything, and I'm sure he was overwhelmed. Plus, he has 300 million subscribers, so no, I don't think that he is gonna have time or be able to talk to every single person. I think that's just definitely a problem that some people have. Whenever they see a celebrity, they think that they're entitled to be able to talk to that person, or to get a selfie or for a hug or whatever they're trying to get. They just think that it's their favorite celebrity, they watch them all the time, so they deserve this and they should 100% be able to go up to them and be their best friend in person, when that's just not really how it works, you know? Like, especially when someone's on as large of a scale as Jimmy is, it's just not really possible to be able to talk to everybody, especially when he's in the middle of a game show. Can't talk to 5,000 people. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that stuff, and I will not be covering the Dogpack 404 controversy in this video. I do think there are some great valid points in that video, and I think it definitely highlights some of the worst characteristics of Mr. Beast. A lot of the stuff is not okay at all, and we definitely need a response from Mr. Beast after that, and hopefully we will get a response from him, because I mean, 6 million people have seen it, so there's no way that he doesn't know about it, just like there's no way he didn't know about Ava Chris Tyson. You know, 2024 is just really the year of everybody getting exposed, it seems like. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see who's next, who's the next person that's gonna be exposed for something horrific. Anyway, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe, share with your friends, your enemies, whoever you want really. And yeah, see ya.